Hey, good
Hey,
evening,
hey.
and welcome to The Truth Behind
Behind the
the Truth.
truth.
Such a beautiful evening here in LA, and Atlanta, and LA.
Yes.
All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful show. Before I just want to say greetings. We're gonna go in with a little clip here. That we're gonna discuss that clip, and I ain't gonna because I can't say the name who the clip is in the name in the clip. But I've tried to vow not to say that name. I'm trying to be like Whoopi Goldberg, my mentor. So we're gonna go into a clip with that, and we'll come right back. But guys, good to see you tonight. It's gonna be a really,
Yes.
really provocative and interesting show this evening, and we're gonna cover a lot of topics. So we will see you guys right back in just a second.
Plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption. And there are plenty of them.
There you go.
There you
Sound
go.
like he was talking about himself.
He actually was. Homie, at the end of the day.
He thinks he's Thor. He comes in with his hammer, going to just hammer everybody. Yeah.
Well,
and nobody pull up.
the one thing I'll say this real quick is just listening to that, which I'm trying to not listen to it, but I have to listen to it for the sake of listening to it. But that man sounds like he is on something, at the end of the day. And that latest report came out, the allegedly is what you got to say, that all of his time that he was doing, this man has been known to be doing drugs in the White House. It has come out that they have been trails with cocaine and obviously have been brought to the White House, during his administration. So these things are about to come out. As I said to you guys, I look personally, it can look like they want to look as far as this election this year. That man ain't gonna win because it's already been said in the heavens he ain't gonna win. But I love to see this to put things in his repertoire.
But allegedly, this is what is going to come out. But to be honest with you, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. I want to say this. This is what he's going to represent. Now, it's up to us to want to go down this road of this type of situation called his idea of totalitarian government, because this is what he laid out. He's going to censor. He's going to cut out. He's going to do a whole lot of destruction within the situation of the systems that protect us as citizens of this country. But my thing is, I'm shocked that he has put this out there and nobody has called him out on his bluff yet. Do y'all agree? Do you agree, Sandy? Or anybody? Do y'all agree that nobody's called him out?
Oh, I think he's getting called out. This decision with Gene Carroll, where it cost him $83 million, and it's going to go to appeals. But in order to appeal, he's got to post enough money to get the appeal. There has to be money in the account for her to get paid. So he's getting called on all this stuff. But I love watching him say stuff like that, because the more he says stuff like that, the more the rest of the population that really is going to take this election seriously starts to understand this is not a guy we want in office. However, I will say this for Trump. From listening to that clip, basically what he said, and I paraphrase, is as soon as I get into office, I'm going to sign an executive order to remove myself.
It does sound
wow.
I'm going to have me removed because I can't be trusted.
That's why I said he was talking about himself.
But I got one thing that I know it's going to upset a lot of people, but I agree with Trump on 3 things. Term limits, that is definitely has to be done.
Right. Yes.
Politicians being involved in this insider trading, where they come into Congress barely making $100,000, now they making the millionaires in 2 years. That, and then the third is going to work for companies that they represent, and they're making rulings for. You make the rulings, then you go work for them for $2-3 million a year. That's unfair. It shouldn't be done. But remember, he's only doing this after he's gone into office and done what he's done. Everybody else will get a shot.
Well, I agree with you, Charles, but unfortunately, none of those people are going to pass those laws to short circuit themselves.
That's true.
You're dreaming, and Trump is the worst offender of all of them. So, his son walking out of Saudi Arabia with $2 billion, it makes the other people look paltry in comparison.
Darnell?
So true.
I just feel like at the end of every day, everything that he say, he's basically only digging himself his own grave. Every action that he does, from court to when he's out on the campaign trail to everything, he's just basically setting himself up for failure, and the people are seeing it slowly but surely. He's so all over the place with calling people the wrong names and talking about this person being somebody who they're actually not, and people are seeing the decline on him because they're already saying there's a big difference from 2016 to now.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. His rallies are down. His everything.
Well, that 83 million, he's gonna have to.
That's what I said. His cult is going to take up that cost because they'll put their pennies together. They'll hold rallies. They'll do damn GoFundMe's to help him pay all his bills. Houses. Yeah, they'll do anything for because he's Orange Jesus. Remember,
like these dummies turn around and when they jumped out, they was all against him. Everybody, all the other ones, the parties they were all against him. We're running. Next thing you know, I think his goons got to him. I think he sent his goons out there of him, and then that's when they turned around and said, "You know what? He's the best candidate."
Wow!
Made him an offer they can't refuse.
Right. It's again, as I said, I know we're going to be having this conversation, quite a bit, this year and whatever. Like I refuse. I'm like my mentor Whoopi. I ain't saying a word. I ain't saying that. I'm doing my best not to say that name this year. Because I don't want to give no credence or attention to it. Yeah, we're talking about it, but but I'm not going to, I'm not going to. But my thing, I've been on Instagram a lot, here lately, just kind of seeing what all this stuff is kind of circling around and all these memes and stuff that are coming out. And I do like the things that the Democratic Party is putting out there. These little things that they put out on Instagram, which is kind of cool. I do that. However, I think now we are really at the point of getting ready to see Joe, and I'm being affectionate by that, with Joe and Kamala out here and really setting strong attacks against this man, and really just telling the truth behind the truth, about what it is and what has been happening, what's been going on, and the things that people didn't have any clue about. And I think as there's more of this truth he's unveiling, I think there's going to be probably more women coming forward, finally getting some money that they deserve, for all of the alleged crotch grabbing, that he's been known to do. And how could you not even be on a person's side that has admittedly done that, done that show? How can you? Admittedly, just told you that he like grabbing your crotch. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna go there. Well, maybe the women that support it probably like it. But anyway, let's move on.
But you saw the women wearing a shirt said Trump can grab mine. You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Shirt said, Trump
but then again, you saw what she looked like too.
But you know what?
You don't do that.
But you know what I'm really proud of in that New Hampshire situation with the electorate of the Republican. Y'all do know that Biden did win that write-in vote, right?
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
So that really was the silver lining for me. Gave me some form of encouragement to say that not all of us is underneath this red Kool-Aid.
Right.
That they are trying to, within whatever media that you listen to, they're trying to make us drink.
Right.
Because if you hear every day, it's like all of a sudden Trump is leading, Trump is doing this, Trump is doing that, this is going on, this is going on. But you hear something of Biden on the Democrat portion of things.
Right.
He's winning still the vote.
Yeah. Yeah, but you mean
Yeah,
Biden.
Biden.
Okay,
is
Biden.
still
Okay, I'm
winning
sorry.
on,
Yeah.
on
I
the
thought you meant-
moderate and on
Yes,
the the independent and
Right.
on the Democrat.
Right.
And that's where I feel like what's her name from South Carolina? Nikki
Tricky
Haley.
Haley.
Tricky Haley.
Tricky Haley.
If she can pull in, if she could pull in those votes from the Republican side, that might be a possibility that Trump might have some trouble on his head.
But she can't pull in nothing when she dropped out the race. She's out the race.
Right.
She's a
Is
done
she?
deal. Yeah.
She gave
Both
up.
of
When?
them. She gave up days ago.
Oh no,
not
she
Nikki
didn't.
Haley.
not
Not Nikki
Nikki
Haley.
Haley.
I'm saying
No,
you might
no.
well say because she ain't really doing nothing for real.
Oh no,
You
no,
know,
she's
just
not going
out
anywhere.
there. She's a face. She's just a face right now. That's
she's
it.
not going anywhere. Not yet. No, she says whether she's pushing her table to the convention. And then she's gonna push her table, whether she wins in these places. She's gonna push her table all the way to the convention.
Baby, they're gonna push her right on her. They're gonna push her right on off the face of the earth. That's why I said she just there.
Probably
just
so, but I do like. I have to give her the tenacity, not giving up. For whatever that is, for whatever that works for them. At the end of the day, so I applaud her for that. And not giving up. And she's gonna push the envelope all the way there because you never know what happened in that convention.
To keep taunting him.
Well, yeah, and that's her goal. I mean, that honestly is to keep taunting him because he cannot handle that information coming in. He just blows up and goes into a whole other hemisphere. I'd hate to be around him if he was. Well, I ain't gonna be around him anyway, but I hate to be around him when he get information. Ooh.
Just like they tried, like they have been pushing this whole thing about the factor of saying with him with the border control and he's not trying to do anything, this, that, and other, the third. And baby, they came and said clearly, we have been trying to do something with border control. It's the Republicans that don't want us to want to help us. They don't want to vote against any aspect of anything. They don't want to, so they want to keep it where we keep looking stupid, like we're not doing anything, or we're just going to leave the border open. It was reporters that was at the border where you see the men there at the border.
Right.
So he was like, you don't see what these people are lying. That's all they're doing is giving out false news.
That's so true. That is definitely so true. I mean, one thing I want to say to you guys, good evening, Ms. Alma. Good evening, Tawana. Thank you for watching tonight. Yes. Do want to say, if you join in the conversation, whatever we're having tonight, be it about him or the other topics, put it in the comments, okay? Please put it in the comments and share, because if we can get it up, we'd like to discuss what you want to discuss as well.
Yes.
As we go to break, we want to remind you of your wonderful opportunities to have your Truth Behind the Truth mug. All right, your mug. All right, just simply send an email to our email ttbttshow@gmail. $13.99 right now. It is on a little bit special for that, and we'd love for you to participate in our support side of that. Our contest: 5 likes and shares to your platform. Okay, invite people to come watch the show. Let us know that, and we'll send you a complimentary mug out as well. All right, we're gonna go a quick break. We'll be right back with more throwing some stuff around. Be right back.
They think the work is so hard until
Now, I want to ask y'all this because this is the conversation that's happening right now with this immigration situation. Now, what you saw was a TikTok video of them mocking Americans doing the work of immigrants. Now, my question is there anybody who is willing to take those jobs as Americans? No,
Not me.
why not, Darnell? You don't think we can
Do I
all
look
go
like-
out there and pick grapes?
I don't know what anybody else can do. I can only speak for me. Do I look like I want to be out there dirty in the field?
No.
I'm good with that.
No.
And you ain't paying. I got to spend all day out there and only make $100. Hell, I can do that doing background work and still get to eat.
That's dinner.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I'm not going out there sweating and hurting the dude. There's another video we have where the gentleman. Let me just play that
video.
So you see it.
Gonna play it. No.
They think the work is so hard until they just turn around and they up and quit.
On the farm fields of Alabama, the verdict is in. The state's tough immigration law just isn't working out.
They're putting Alabamians back to work. In my area, experience I've had, they ain't too good at what they do.
Keith Smith says most immigration workers left after the law took effect, so this potato farmer hired Americans. Problem is, he says, most show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field.
There's a Hispanic man that works for us, and I say, he's 52, and he'll make anywhere from $70 to $100 a day. I said, if you can keep up with him and do a good job, you can make that. But they're not physically in shape to do it, and, probably not mentally tough enough to do it some of it.
Over on this tomato farm, the story's not much different.
The bending over, and if you're not used to working and kneeling down and bending over and constantly up and down all day long is the grueling part of it. It really is. I mean, other than that, it's not any harder than anything else you do.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they say. It ain't grueling. Yeah, right.
Wow.
So what we just saw was a AP report from the state of Alabama, and there was a situation where the migrants, they're not there anymore. So they're trying to find Americans to do the work of the migrants, but there is nobody that's coming to do the work. And if they do come, they're quitting on the spot.
Wow.
So my thing is, with this rhetoric that we are now seeing about migrants coming over here, taking our jobs, doing this, they're overrunning everything. So my question is, what jobs are you talking about?
The field, they can have it.
What jobs are you talking about? I'm seeing this, and I don't see us going back into the fields and sharecropping anymore.
Baby, all I want to do is dress and rest. That's it.
Dress and rest. Wow. Well, okay, let's put it this way. All right, let's watch this because there's going to be a lot to unfold in the days to come. Okay.
Listen, that's not for me even if I was young. But you have to think about this now. In the South now, there was a time, especially during the Great Depression, a lot of people were willing to get out there and do that type of work.
Right.
There were a lot of our grandparents who didn't own property. In order for them to own property, they had to sharecrop.
Right.
And because of the sharecropping system, a lot of people were underpaid. They wouldn't get, and some of them weren't getting paid at all. Right. So my thing is, why are they so willing for us to go backwards than go forwards? Right. And now there's an immigration bill right now as we speak, where Trump is telling them not to vote, not to do this and not to do that, because they don't want Biden to win they don't want to give Biden a win, basically, or credit. Right. So what is the end game? Right. What's the end game?
Well, it seems like as we know, the Republicans at this point are going to do anything possible to their best to try to sabotage this administration. So that the knight in white armor, the shining knight in white armor, will come in with his with his orange kick, and change and make the scenario better. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. But again, it's not going to happen like that because kind of weaving this into the conversation. So the report came out about the rise in the economy. So, people, you can't blame the economy anymore. Okay, you might as well stop. All right, because it's on the rise. Okay, it's been and actually higher now than it has ever been in the past was it past 4 administrations, I think they said. You know, so you can't say nothing about the economy. You cannot blame Biden. The problem is you need to get up off your butt and go to work.
Yeah, Sandy, what's your opinion on this?
My feeling on this is there's work there, and I'm going to leave in a few minutes and go get myself a job.
Okay. I know you said that you're gonna be out here working on the other side of that, but yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's really the way to look at it, because these complaints that people have been having about what was going on in the U.S. right now, and Trump's gonna change this, all of the other BS that they've been putting out there, is getting wiped away. You know, at the end of the day, and if you expect that, you know, these massive miracles have happened, you know, with President Biden and struggle at the time, you're already nuts in the first place, okay? The man inherited coming to office. He inherited the responsibility of COVID, okay? He inherited it, all right? So as I've told people all along, when we talk about this during COVID has to be paid for, okay? Every bit of that you thought was going for free had to be or has to be paid for. Guess what? Your stimulus, you paid for it.
He paying for a 4-year shit show,
you know,
ministry that he had.
It comes out of your taxes.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. So if you didn't read the dotted line and said that when you agreed to get your stimulus, it told you right there that it was going to come out of your taxes the following year. Okay, so you didn't get nothing for free. All right, please understand.
Maybe they're not filing taxes. Yeah, maybe they're not filing taxes. That's what it is.
You know, that's probably this. You know,
so I sure wish somebody would have sent us one this way. They was giving them out.
They're probably doing taxes like the person that they follow. You know, you create tax shelters. You know, you bury your loved ones out on a golf course so you can call it a cemetery, so you don't have to pay taxes on that property anymore. So that's probably what they're trying to do.
But,
you know, go ahead.
But the thing right now, for those who are spreading this lie, this big lie about Trump got to give us a Trump check. And that's the thing that gets on that drives my gears, because in the day where money going to come from, they got a debt ceiling that they're still fighting about, that never seems to go anywhere, but you know, closing down the house, closing down the government, because we can't come to a decision. So my grief with this about Trump giving us a check is, where's the money going to come from?
Well, you ain't got to worry about it, because he got $83 billion to pay out, so he ain't coming from him.
He still owed $20 million to North Korea, so you know.
Right, so it ain't coming from him, so we ain't got to worry about that at all.
So two behind the two, we're all over the place. This country,
he all over the place.
Well, he all over the place, basically.
Go ahead, Sandy. I know, Sandy, you got to leave it just a second because you got.
Yeah, look. Here's what I got to say about all this. First of all, Trump is full of shit about everything. And this whole problem is manufactured by him, because if he had built the wall he told us he was going to build, then nobody would be coming into the country. But of course, he couldn't do what he said he was going to do. Right. Not that we ever needed it, because this country was created by immigration and people that came here and contributed to life, and calling them criminals and rapists and stuff like that. You know, and I don't know if you've heard this, and this was an alarming thing I heard, and I'm just astounded. Since the overturn of Roe versus Wade, in Texas alone, there have been 26,000 rapes that have led to a child. 26,000. That to me is, I mean, if the women of the world, if the women of America aren't just absolutely up in arms and going, so that scumbag governor down there who wants to put, fencing in the middle of the river and fight against our own government when everything went through channels in the law, and now he wants to make sure that 26,000 women who were raped have to give birth to a child that they didn't want, let alone didn't consent to. And he does nothing to help them, but he wants to make sure we're going to keep immigrants out. So he's a douchebag, and I can't wait till he's gone. And all this stuff is horrifying, and the women of America should understand 26,000 rapes. That's just in Texas. God knows how many we've had in the rest of the country, in all the red states, and what that's caused. But if the women, this issue is going to be front and center, and when the women of this country start to realize just what a pariah I don't even know what, I got so many words I want to spill out on, on Trump and the Republicans and their feelings about this stuff. So I do have to go. It's nice to talk with you guys and to carry on. And I'm going to go get a job in Alabama.
We'll see you next week, brother.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
But you know what? To add to that, the story about Brittany Watts, the lady from Ohio whose case got thrown out because of the situation with the miscarriage, is very troubling. Very troubling to the fact that this lady had a miscarriage and ended up having her baby in the toilet and then going to the hospital. Right. Been going to the hospital, been having complications and issues, them not listening to her and then not trying to induce the baby. But then on top of that, she goes home and has the baby in the toilet, goes back to the hospital. The nurse calls the police, the one that's stroking her back and telling her it's going to be all right. But at the same time, calls the police and tells them that this woman left a corpse in the toilet. That is very troubling. Very troubling. And don't even talk about the lady who had to drive clean up out of Texas to have an abortion, but realized after the abortion she could never have children no more because they waited so late to have the abortion. See, that's stuff right there people are not thinking about. Right. It's not the fact of you thinking that it's right to that is your religious right to tell somebody to have that child. It's the fact that what comes with that is complications with the body. Right. You don't know preconditioned ailments and illnesses that could take over the body and kill the baby, including the mother. Absolutely. So my thing is this is a moment that I wish that most Americans would sit back and think that if you don't think this could happen to you, this could happen to your niece, to your cousin, this could happen to anybody.
Let me submit this. I know Charles, you had a point on me. Submit this to your point. My question now is that I know we've been rightfully so been really attacking these men as legislative positions and all that, whatever the case would be. But I'm a little disappointed in the women. I'm really a little disappointed in these women that have really aligned themselves with these dumbass men. I mean, here's the thing that Roe versus Wade was done, handled, legislated, fought for by women. Okay, so women, what is wrong with y'all? Now, not the women that that care. I get you. This is not all y'all. But then you got these women that are for liberty, moms for liberty, and all these things that are supposed to be coming under they're putting themselves under a Christian head, and and going all this stuff. What's wrong with y'all? You sit up in one conversation, you're talking on both sides of your mouth, saying that what you don't want a man telling you what to do. But yet you're giving him free reign to tell you what to do with your body. What's wrong with y'all? Come on. Go ahead, Charles.
This is what I'm really puzzled about. I thought the Republican Party is about less government, about less intrusion in your life, about lower taxes. What happened to that Republican Party? I could have sworn those were the cornerstones of the Republican Party. Now you want to be the ruler and the god of everybody who does anything. Your kids can't read these books. The libraries can't do this. You can say, and it's all for the minorities. It's not the majority of people. It's for the small minority of folks that are with the loudest voice. And that is so to me, not American. I thought this was, even though democracy is I feel like a little trick word, we should all be involved in what happens with our own children. You want the state to be responsible for that state. Then how about letting the parent be responsible for their kids versus you telling them what their kids can and can't do? But nobody can tell your kids what they can and can't do. So why are you thinking this monarchy that you're building is so, as Trump says, empowering? I'm going to get rid of all of the people that don't do this and the people that don't. That's what they try to do down here with Fannie Willis in Georgia. They're trying to get rid of her because she had a relationship with a guy she hired, but nobody else would take the job. He's the only one who would take the job. She went through all these other lawyers who said, nope, don't want to do it. And then he said, well, I'll take it. And they go, well, you know him. Y'all dated, so he can't be on the job. If nobody else is going to take the job, well, he's supposed to say, well, we won't do it at all then, since he can't take it, Trump gets off. That's crazy. Right. This what you call it, this cheat thing is
that's the truth behind the truth, what you're mentioning right there, Charles, about that situation. And we can explore that a little bit. Go ahead and make your point, Darnell.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's kind of like with everything that's going on right now, from the government to the industry to everything. It's kind of like everybody's playing the play along to get along type situation to be able to
Right.
get to wherever they got to get to right now.
Right.
And it's just really not making any sense. So you rather roll over the smaller people in order to be able to prove a point in this situation,
Mhm.
and not realizing how much you're hurting the people. Because think about it, the women who are now having to keep these babies that that probably came from a rape or some trauma or something, whatever the case may be, guess what?
Right.
They probably couldn't afford them.
That's
So that's
true.
a whole nother struggle. Then
That-
you're gonna be like, well, half of the women they out here on welfare, they're getting food assistance, they're getting this, they're getting that. So that's another complaint that you're gonna have. So it's just it's not making any sense to me.
It's not.
It's
Yeah,
just,
we want them
it's
to
not.
live, but we don't want to take care of them. Make them all live, but we don't take care of them. That's enough on us.
Basically, that's
Now,
the
why
case.
did you have them babies? It is. Why did you have them babies? Well, you made me have it. I had no other alternative but to have the child.
you
It's
know,
crazy.
I totally agree with with that. It's if you're going to force women, and this has been the conversation, if you're going to force women to have these children, then you need to be forced to make sure that they are well taken care of. At the end of the day, you need to go ahead and start buying the diapers. You need all of their clothing,
Daycare.
all of those other type of things it's going to take to maintain these children that you're forcing these women to have when they don't need to be having them. At the end of the day. Now, here's the thing. Now, I am a pro-life person. However, being pro-life and telling somebody what to do with their body is two different things. Okay, it's a belief factor. Yes, conception, in my opinion, starts at life starts at conception. That's just my opinion, and respect my opinion. You may see it different. I think you agree with the same thing. Most people do agree that life starts at at conception. However, that's cool.
Listen.
I mean, and we have our different
If
opinions.
you can't afford it, get rid of it.
And respectively of that, but because you see it that way, doesn't mean I'm going to force Charles or whoever it is to see it my way or make laws in place that a woman can't make a decision. Now, my last point about this is that the thing I see about the whole thing is responsibility. Okay. People are not allowing themselves to be responsible about the responsibility of having sex, okay, at the end of the day, because when you lay down, you're going to get pregnant, and that's on both parts, not just on the woman, but on the man. You ain't covering up your stuff. You ain't putting the plastic over the head. You ain't doing what you need to do, getting a vasectomy, whatever you need to do to stop producing the children. Then you need the responsibility to take care of them. Now, this is where I draw the line, company. I just don't believe it should be as a form of contraceptive. In other words, because you didn't take the responsibility to maintain what you should have did or prepared the way, then you want to use abortion as a way because you don't know how to manage your own life. That's my problem.
But this is the only thing with that, though. On that note, I get what you're saying, but this is the thing. Even if these people are making that decision, they're not coming to you or anyone else asking you for the money to get rid of the child. So it's nothing that you can say about it. They can lay down and sleep with somebody and get pregnant 64 times and go and get it done. That's their body.
Right. Now, I agree with you there. Go ahead.
This is the quote of the year. Common sense is not common. Everybody doesn't have good sense. That's like saying if you take away all these sex films and these shoot them up, get them up, everybody's going to be an angel. No, they're going to do it whether you show the movies or not. It don't matter what you show them. Sexy Red and all them can dry hump and brown booty holes all they want. You're going to do what you want to do. You don't care.
She's cleaned up her image. She said she's cleaning her image up.
Whatever.
But it doesn't matter. There's still people doing it. It's not like it's something that nobody does. They do it. She's just putting hers out there. So we can't be expecting everybody to live the way we live because that's how we live. That's the thing we have no problem with now.
But it's dangerous, though.
But
it's dangerous to cross that threshold where the government is involved in you making that decision, because now you're taking more steps into totalitarian situation and in an ideal world of totalitarian, because once you cross that threshold, that is and the government is involved, that's no longer your castle. You have no privacy.
Right.
You have no basis of having sex without somebody peeking through your window and saying, "Oh shoot!"
Okay. Now you get that person. He's gonna be peeking in your window.
Because honestly, when it boils down to it, because I hear what you're saying, but that's where it's gonna come down to. These people.
It's already there.
Little by little, it's like they're trying to get people immune to it. It takes time because people are fighting, but they're just wanting a whole lot of people to be immune to it, because the whole entire country is not on the same side as these people who want to, I would say, at least minimize birth control, minimize abortions, or just take it off the table whatsoever. They might even talk about vasectomies. Why has that not been talked about?
I'm saying that's just what I'm saying.
My thing is vasectomies, and it's just not the most popular thing to talk about.
And that's one of the number one things should be being talked about. I mean, and my thing, like with all these women, women, why are you not pushing back with that? Number one thing is you could keep the pleasure hole closed. You don't have to allow it.
I mean, vasectomy.
But you can't turn around and tell that man what he can't have.
Hear me out.
Yes, that's my point.
I'm gonna put it on you just for a moment.
Movement.
Okay, exactly. Vasectomy movements. All right.
Let me just say this as a man who deals with women. This is not going to be a good thing. And we were doing interracial dating. We were doing homosexual dating. There's always somebody trying to tell somebody who they can't sleep with and what they need to do with their private parts. Stay out of people's private parts and mind your own business. That's how that
lay out of folks' fucking life, period. Just let these motherfucking people be. Let them be. People have been letting people be for years. Let them be.
Right. See, and we're all in the same mode here. I mean, in terms of that, in the different. But like your point is just like the way we go with the vasectomy, the snip. What we talking about that is that if you keep pushing women to do this, then you go ahead and take care. You take care of your part of it. Don't be pushing a woman to do this. You ain't willing to get.
Only somebody pushing these old ass white men. That's it.
Basically.
Well, they probably need to get snipped and clipped.
And that's about these old ass white men. They don't win and rape. The problem is this. They mad because they done went and raped all these little young girls and women all these years, and now they can't do it. So they was like, let's get rid of us. Let's make sure that therefore they can't have any kids or get rid of their kids now.
Viagra doesn't work anymore.
It ain't working no more. Listen.
Fannie Lou Hamer said
Viagra doesn't work.
Oh, yes.
Fannie Lou Hamer said this. She said the sterilization program was happening big within the African American community, especially down south when it boiled down to Black women having children, because Black women were having more than 6 kids down south. The family was growing so that they were trying to tamper within the Black community on the population down south. So, to be honest with you, when it boils down to it, it's all based on control.
Right.
And to be honest, and who are they controlling right now? Truth behind the truth is the question.
Right.
Because you have
controlling all of the white folks, darling. Because you think about it, this younger generation. If you think about our younger kids, Black kids and girls, and the younger ones now, some young children ain't trying to have no 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children. They ain't trying to. They trying to live their best life.
The statistics say that the younger folks this year are having less sex now than they've ever had. So we can't blame them for what's going on. Yes, and less children. So stop putting at them of doing all this promiscuous sex and having kids. They're not doing it. It's not.
All them children want to do. The most they doing is wanting to be able to be rich. These young kids, so they might as well focusing on wanting to be rich.
Well, technically speaking, it's the older ones that's doing all of the backdoor stuff.
Sexually transmitted diseases are on the rise amongst 50-plus-year-old adults.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Sexually transmitted diseases. So you're talking to the kids when it ain't the kids. It's the grown-ups you need to be talking to.
The older generation.
Because we have toys right now. Everybody got a toy. Everybody, listen, this is truth behind the truth. Everybody got a toy. Everybody got something they can get themselves immersed to all by themselves. Now, truth behind the truth, we all don't need a partner these days. We don't. Honestly, you can go to the nearest sex store or the Amazon and get whatever you need.
But that's the thing. But you have to think about it. And then the women now too, darling, these days, a lot of these young girls, they ain't studying having a damn boyfriend. They don't want it. They got that snooty attitude now. What can you do for me? And you can't do that for me.
No, this the problem. So they're all dating the same guy. That's the problem. That's why guys got 9 babies, 12 babies. They're only dating the same guys. It's not like they're looking for good dudes or guys who work at the bus station or because they ain't got the money. They all dating the same ball players. That's why Future got 10, 12 kids. That's why other guys got 9 kids. They're dating all these guys that got the money because they're only dating the same guy. Look at doggone Nick Cannon. He's got all these, 12 babies by 9 different women.
He's an embarrassment.
But they all doing it.
Right.
If you want to say an embarrassment, I would say women make better choices. Stop chasing the same thing.
Right.
Everybody
Like Nick Cannon baby mamas now. That's pure stupidity.
Right. It's embarrassing.
But there's a plan because they're gonna get paid.
Well, yeah, and that if it's a come up, but I'm talking about you dealing with a broke nigga that's out here that's living from pillar to post. That's a different story.
Right.
Because I know a lot of them who got to a baby daddy got 54 children and he don't know what half of their baby mamas at.
Do you think
until the child support people turn around and pull them over?
Do you think that was not supposed to happen, but it just happened? Having the baby. The fact is, there are people who just lay down just to lay down because either they going through some form of depression. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
or some form of insecurity, and their way of getting over all of that is to just have sex.
But you know what? I think a lot of these people with Nick. So this is the thing, Nick. He wants all those kids. He wants to leave his legacy.
We're talking about an economic level. We're talking about broke folks now.
Now the broke people. So this is the thing about that. I think a lot of these folks that's out here, they just doing a whole lot of screwing, and then you look up and she say, "I'm pregnant," and he look like, okay, what am I supposed to do about it? And then he probably done said, "I'm gonna give you the money to go and get your abortion." And what she probably did is this: I'm gonna use this money and get me a wig.
You know what? I can't.
I mean, that's the way it goes.
Well, no, and in certain communities, that's true. I mean, I agree. So that's where my point was, again, coming in what I said earlier. So where is the educational piece that in these communities that really are downtrodden with this type of behavior, And it is like you say, sex is one of the highest things that people run to overcome depression. Okay, if you have an eating problem, it has always been used to cover up all of your internal issues. So
hold
on. You need to address what's going on within you. Okay, it's one thing to be able to go ahead and enjoy your point if you're with somebody in that capacity. That's a whole other thing. But if you're using this as a tool to overcome something, then you got a real problem. You got a problem. And then here's the thing. Then the other part is you bringing a child into a situation that don't need to be brought into. Now let's shift the conversation about child abuse. Okay.
So you was going in the right place.
Let me finish my point, D. Let me finish my point.
No, I was saying he was going in the right place. Go ahead. Go ahead. You were going in the right place where I was getting ready to say, but it was going to shift. With that, go ahead.
Yeah, so about this child abuse situation, I mean, here in California, we got so many people that's in line about to go to jail, for committing murder, to doing these things, to these horrific things to these children. These children did not ask to come here. They didn't ask you to lay down, spread your legs, and stick it in. And I'm just being straight up, and you knew this. But then here's the thing. Then here's a part of the system that when you got people that are mentally disturbed in positions like that, and you see it happen, you don't take the child out of it. You leave the child right there till he dies. But you know what? We could let her have it, but she should have had an abortion then. No, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got to find a balance to this communication. That's what's going on. And there are people out here producing children that should not be producing them. You can't take the child out, please.
They got this lady that's going to jail in Mississippi because of the fact that she, I think I've been seeing the little video that's been circulating where she took this child into a Walmart and didn't have no clothes on the child, but some pampers. And everybody around her was buying clothes for the child, but she kept throwing all types of stuff at people. Now she's in jail, but those are the people that you're talking about,
right?
Mentally, something's off. Something's
off. Back in Atlanta, when we lived in Atlanta, you remember we was in Walmart that day, and that man was in there with that baby, and it was like 40 degrees outside. The baby had no clothes on. You remember? And he had that little blanket in it. This guy was walking around with a baby in the store. You know what I'm saying?
You're missing one point.
Yeah.
So it's not so much as a mental thing. It's just things such as raising, parenting, being a parent before that parent.
Right.
Everybody ain't just laying down. And then there are young ladies who feel like in order to have somebody who loves me, I'm going to have a baby. And that baby will love me unconditionally. Well, that's not the reason, but we got to understand young people don't have the experience or the foreknowledge to understand these things. You think at this moment when you're 15, 14 that this is how it works, but it doesn't work that way. So someone has to step in and give you that guidance. Without that guidance, you can't blame that child for not knowing what to do.
Right. No, I that's what I said earlier in terms of that's where you come in with education and guidance and trying to teach people situation. But here's the thing. I'm going to give these young people more credit than you did in that church. These kids know what they're doing. Okay, they know how to
So
get
what
there.
about?
Well, hold on.
So
They
what?
know they know how to get it. They know when to get it. They know how to find time to do it. Then you know how to you need to know how to take care of it if you're gonna put yourself in that position. You know, I think it's time out for the excuses of what young people don't know. They know everything else. They, like you mentioned earlier, they can sit down, quote Sexy Red and her nasty ass. You know, at
Go
15
ahead.
years old. But go ahead.
So
Darnell.
what about these sexual predators that are, like they're saying, over in the industry aspect of it, and the people who know what's going on with them? What do you say for those people?
That's a different story. Now, and I get that. That's a different story. And that is like, how do you address that particular issue as a whole? But that goes back to the mental problem of those individuals that are sexual predators. You know, at the end of the day, it's the same thing in the category of a rapist. It's something about conquering this individual and finally getting that in, you know, in whatever that they get from it, euphoria that they get from doing it. But you know, that's, you know, that's probably, I don't want to say an unanswered question, but I put it this way: when they get to jail, I tell you, both Bubba and whoever else, make sure that they know what happens to them while they get in jail.
Well, let me rant. You know, there's a movie out called The Color Purple, right?
Okay.
That people are
Baby,
walking out of because of the fact that there's a lesbian love scene, but nobody has taken note of the fact that that story is today's story. Now, what you just talked about was pregnancies, unwed, teenage incest that is now happening underneath the situation that Trump has allowed. It is going to allow this to happen.
Yeah.
But see, the situation is we don't like to be entertained by trauma. See, that's traumatic.
You know what? You took the words that I was just going to say, and that's
traumatic
why they were
for
talking about
me.
the movie.
But it's
Flock.
happening.
Yeah.
Darnell, but hold on.
Don't overtalk each other because it gets mixed up. But go ahead.
But I'm gonna let you have your say. But Darnell, it's happening right in front of our faces. It's happening. The fact that you can get up from a movie and get up only from the fact of lesbian, but not being outraged by what it is teaching us in our daily lives right now, because that is not only happening in that time period, it's happening right now. And you got to understand that if you have children right now, including daughters and boys, I'm just saying there has to be some form of education and protection over their lives when it boils down to sex education, because there are people who are taking advantage. And it is so prevalent right now with the internet. Social media is so crazy right now that I think Instagram and I think X, they're being sued because there is no parental control over those situations. And hey, like you say, nowadays, this new generation, they know what they're getting themselves into. Go ahead, Darnell. I'm sorry.
But that's not the key, though. It's not that they know. See, this is the problem I have with a lot of our pundits, as we put it. You keep blaming a child for what a child does when a child doesn't know. You have to stop putting this burden on children. That's why they do what they do. They act out because we put all this responsibility on them and expect them to know when they have no guidance and they don't know. And just to show the flip side of this, the first Color Purple had a lesbian scene in it. Remember Suge was kissing old girl in the tub?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and then the people who talking, Lil Boosie, thief, thug, criminal, now he's robbing folks, doing all this stuff, but he's a parent that cares about his kid's sexuality when his daughter's gay. So now you got all these rules, but you out here robbing, stealing, selling drugs, but you're a high moral guy.
All the morality. No, I get it. I mean, you know,
and to add, he has allowed women to sexually take advantage of his boys, thinking that he was giving them what you call a grown man type of, you know, scenario of a what they call walking in the steps of being a grown manhood, by allowing whores to perform sexual acts on 14-year-old boys. Now that right there, that is out there.
Here's a little shift in the conversation. It's basically the kind of same thing, but it's kind of dealing back into the men or educational piece for men. All right. So we did a show, guys. You can go back. It probably was 3 years ago that we did called Barbershop, the Penis Monologue. Okay. What the concept of that particular show was to have conversation with men and young men, and otherwise, okay, in reference to the behaviors, what we see that young men are not being taught. Okay. And a major part of our influence, no matter where you are, it comes from what we have heard in the barbershop setting. Most of us have. Okay, that's where we got our hair done. That was the gathering place for men, typically men of color. They gather there. But the three things that they talked about in that barbershop on a regular basis were sports, sex, and women. Okay, that was the main conversation that came out of it. Not how to prepare you as a young man to appreciate a woman. It was all about how she was, and she would bang it, and she got a big breast, her booty, and whatever else and all that. Those were the conversations that came out of there. So what we've got is generations upon generations of young men that do not know how to appreciate women. Okay, or what goes into a relationship. So therefore, he goes into there looking for sex and looking for what she looks like, and get all of it, everything else, all of those senses aroused. Okay, and then next time he turns around, it's like, well, dang, I'm becoming a dad. All right, oh, dang, I'm becoming a dad again, and then dang, I'm becoming a dad again.
I'm gonna throw a salt into that right fast.
Okay.
That it's a misperception that black men don't take care of the kids. More black men are involved in their children's lives than not. And we have this other thing about how men, and I guess this is where the twist comes in for me, seeing that I do deal with women and I date women and I have been married and all that. That is not such a common thing that we got to teach boys. There are women on that opposite side who are lured. They pull you in. They wear their little stuff to want you. Not that you have permission, but they want this attention. They feel that is good attention. So of course, a young man who has no understanding of what that responsibility is, he's gonna go for what he knows because it's a natural urge, a natural instinct. So you can't tell him ignore how you feel because she said come get it. And you're supposed to say no, I'm not doing that. That's irresponsible for a young man. No, he has circumstances that he's put in also. So like I keep saying, you can't put responsibility on people who don't know. There has to be an understanding, and I put this to people all the time. Grace. It has to have grace.
Right. I hear what you're saying, Charles, and it makes up a valid point. But again, we still have to give the emphasis and put it there. Just because it brings a point of an arousal for that young man doesn't mean that he has to go and pursue it. That doesn't mean that. Because he can have girls.
It doesn't mean he doesn't either. It doesn't mean he doesn't either. Stop. You keep saying he doesn't. He doesn't have. That doesn't mean he can have. He can't do that. Nobody says he can't. Nobody says he can. That's a judgment call. You can't say he doesn't need to do that. That's a judgment call.
But if you're not educated in the understanding of where your hormones are working, why your hormones are working, and you're not able to even have an honest conversation with a man and that kind of conversation to understand that, then you're going to feel like that's okay. You're going to make it up in your mind that the behavior is okay, and then the results is that you don't want to deal with the results. You know, it's a responsibility in everything we do. We have to be accountable and responsible for the decisions we make. You know, we can't justify that. We can't change that, mix it up and make a mixed bag out of it. You are responsible and accountable for whatever it is, whether you knew or not. You know, here's the thing. You can't go back and say, because I didn't know it back there, the responsibility comes in and the accountability got to happen. Now, I'm sorry, I know you got a point. But, you know, and this is the thing that we've got to understand in society, as well as grown-ass people, as well as young people. The major problem in humanity, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, is accountability and responsibility. People don't want to do it, because it forces you to change or to see something different than the way you've already been dealing with it. Go ahead, what's your point?
But you know what? Truth behind the truth, Charles, I agree. You should never put too much of the burden on children, because the children don't know what they are doing. And I wholeheartedly agree. That's what you said, right? That comes close to what you said. Because growing up, before I knew anything sexually, I knew who my preferences were, there were a lot of grown people and mostly men in my ear saying, well, you need to get up on a girl. You need to get up on a girl. It's about that time. And not even thinking about the fact that you mean sexually, or do you mean just dating? But then on top of that, it went further than, you need to start going to find a girl and get up on top of that girl, because you need to be a man. Those types of talks is very dangerous, because the peer pressure of being a man, regardless if you're straight or gay, and especially within it can really wear and tear on one's insecurity, because you're now having to walk this fine line of being a masculinity.
Right.
Am I a real man if I don't have sex with a girl at the age of 13? You know, do I have to sleep with somebody this early in life just to be who I am? Right. So that is the rhetoric that is so dangerous in those barbershop talks, or in those man-to-man talks that you might have with, unfortunately, undisciplined uncle, or whoever that you are talking to, because that stuff is so apparent
Right.
in the growing up stages, because that's all you hear. You're not hearing this from teenagers. You're hearing this from grown adults.
Right.
And I hate to say it, I heard that growing up before I knew I was gay. I heard that.
There's,
from
there's pastors out there doing that same thing.
Yeah,
Pastors,
right, yeah.
baseball
Exactly,
coaches, Boy Scout leaders.
Yeah.
They're all doing that. It's not like I said, we put all this burden on the child when the
Right.
child is not responsible for all
See,
that.
there's one point I want to really make, and I know we got to wrap. So this is a real quick history lesson about how that society has known that men in general have been driven by their sexuality. Okay, and what they do to put it in the front, you can control your society, but you can control men by their sexuality. So you put things in front of them that, as you said, Charles, you know, it could be whatever. You know what I mean? During the Civil War, during the Civil War, what they did is that these were these not pilgrims. What were they? The ones that came over from England, the Puritans. Okay, so these Puritan Bibles, true fact, Puritan Bibles, they were giving out these soldiers in the Civil War. They put pornography in those Bibles, okay, to stimulate these guys while they were out in battle. You know, to say that they were keeping in a place where they'd keep fighting, and God said it was okay for you to be stimulated like this, so they could get more out of you in battle. Isn't that something? A true fact about what they did during the Civil War. So men really, in general, you've been selling for some wrong shit. I'm telling you, at the end of the day, by the thing that hangs between your legs, you know, the uncontrollable head, as they always say.
Conscious sermon said,
you know,
word is hell. So,
you know,
I mean,
so, but anyway, yeah, great talk tonight, guys. I mean, great talk. I'm thoroughly enjoyed it. We kind of shifted the way we were going, but that's okay, because that's what needed to be heard over the airways. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. We hope that you got a little understanding of why not to vote for that idiot, okay, which will name nameless to me. Hopefully, I don't know what some of y'all still in the idiotville in your mind. So that's okay. If you want to get idiot, go ahead. You know, you will be sorry come the day after the election in November. I'm just letting you know. So get your tissues ready, get everything ready, get your bottle of wine, whatever you do to get drunk, okay, to get over the disappointment. Go ahead with it. All right. But we do love you here on this show, and we're gonna keep telling you the information to make you better. Okay, we are. That's our goal. That's our mission. We love you here. This is why we have the truth behind the truth, because we want to bring you the truth behind the truth.
Thank you, Ms. Alma.
Thank you, Ms. Alma, for your support. We're really loving everybody else that tuned in tonight. Please start giving us your comments. You can always definitely go to our email address and submit your comments as well. All right. We will see you. We'll hear again next week on what? The truth behind the truth. Good night, y'all.